Hello, everyone, and welcome to High Top Sports Network, another coach preseason preview here on High Top Sports Network. This, of course, brought to you by the fine folks at Sprinkles Neighborhood Market, #SaveOnMeat. Today, we are joined by newly minted Freeport Varsity boys head coach for the basketball team, Sean Devinney. So, Coach, how are you doing today?
Good. How about yourself?
Oh, not too bad. Can't complain. It's a little chilly out there, but we won't get into the weather today. We'll save that for another time, maybe.
Right, maybe after the season.
Yeah, maybe it'll be. I don't know if it'll be nicer, but anyway. So you're coming into this season, first year at Freeport here, but you spent some time with Fox Chapel in the past 5 years. So talk a little bit about what your time at Fox Chapel has taught you and how you plan on implementing, your system this year for the Yellowjackets.
Sure. We've had, I was there for 5 years, like you said, and, hope to kind of piggyback off of some of the things we did there. We had a good run, 5 years of pretty good records. And, I think the thing we always relied on at Fox Chapel throughout my time there was our defense. We were top 5 in points against pretty much every year I was there. And I definitely hope to bring that over to Freeport. The guys so far have done a great job adopting the schemes, the techniques that we used at Fox Chapel. I think that's something Freeport people can assume or hope to see from our guys this year is a tough half-court defense that's not going to break and hopefully grind out some wins and wear teams down.
So what kind of made you gravitate towards that defensive mindset? I've
always considered that was always a big part of my game. Kind of got me on the floor in a lot of different teams that I played for throughout my life. And then I did a year as a graduate assistant at Robert Morris under Andy Toole. And, they really grind it out there. They really hold their hats on the defensive end. That year was just, soaked everything in. I tried to be a sponge all year long and kind of fell in love with what he preached. And, the more I watch college basketball across the country, the more I kind of see teams adopting that style of play. We want to allow we want to force the ball sideline, baseline, no middle drives, and they're big on that. And I, just took a lot of drills and a lot of, everything that I learned from there and tried to bring it to Fox Chapel. And now I'm going to hopefully bring it over to Freeport.
So you mentioned, your time with Coach Toole at Robert Morris, and then we talked a little bit about your time at Fox Chapel. Tell us a little bit more about your basketball experience. I'm imagining you were quite the player back in your day. So what has your kind of basketball journey been like to lead you to this point?
Sure. Yeah, I played at Central Catholic for Coach Crummy. And then from there, went to Community College of Allegheny County, played a year for Bill Shea, who's the, winningest coach in Western Pennsylvania history. I wish more people around here actually, talked about him because he was unbelievable. Coach, mentor, just one of the best people I've ever met through the game. And then my second year, I was lucky enough to play for Frank Howren, who was a longtime assistant under Coach Shea, and had a great year with Coach Frank and was recruited to play at Teal College, where I finished out my career. And knew I wasn't done with the game, knew I still loved it, and was lucky enough to land the GA spot at Robert Morris. And that kind of just continued to feed my passion for the game. And actually moved away for 2 years, got a teaching job. But as soon as I came back, I knew I wanted to stay involved. And Andrew Garcia was starting a men's program at Chatham College. So was lucky enough to land a job with him. And then high school was kind of where I knew the game fit into my life. So Zach Scridger hired me at Fox Chapel, was there for 5 years, and now just feel extremely fortunate to be at Freeport.
And so let's get down to the X's and O's here. First year taking over, Freeport was able to take advantage of that, play-in tournament for the WPIAL and get a playoff win for the first time in a while.
Right.
So how do you plan on building on that? Not the best season, but able to get that playoff win last year is good for the guys' mentality, I would imagine. So as a new coach at Freeport, how do you plan to build on that momentum that playoff win gave the team last year? And what kind of different things are we going to see out there on the court from those guys?
Sure. It's funny you say that. I know, when you take over a team, you want to, watch some film on them from last year and just talking to the guys. They're all like, watch the Blackhawk game, watch the play. And it's like, well, of course they want you to watch their playoff win. But yeah, I mean, fortunate enough to have 4 seniors back, a very strong junior class. Having a wealth of guys who have varsity experience is something that I feel lucky to have, and I feel like it's something that we can hopefully win now. I had a meeting with all my seniors and told them, I don't want it to be a building block year. It's their last year. And I know it's my first year and going to be my only year with them, but, we expect to win. And the first thing that we're going to go after is, a section title and then, move on from there. But yeah, just feel lucky to have 4 seniors who I think are all quality guys. They're going to be our captains this year. They're all worthy of it. That's for sure. And, like I said, a strong junior class as well. So when you take over a team, it's nice having some upperclassmen with, varsity minutes underneath their belt.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you talked about the guys that are, the seniors, the juniors, Vinnie Clark, Cole Charlton, Parker Lucas, Ben Lane, all coming back. They were starters last year. So when did you get into the gym for mandatory workouts and really start to see what these kids are all about?
Yeah, we were able to play in a summer league at St. Joe's this year. That was nice being able to see them play. To see kind of just what everyone, because you can watch them on film all the time, but seeing them with your own eyes is, obviously a lot better to get a sense of, the speed of them and athleticism, all that kind of stuff. And then we had summer workouts at Freeport, and we were going 2 days a week in the summertime, along with the summer league at St. Joe's. And then we have a ton of guys that play football. It's 4A school and you got to share athletes, and that's, always a great thing to have multi-sport athletes. But so our fall open gyms kind of took a hit, just being that they were all in the football field. And but we continued to, get guys showing up. Like I said, the numbers might not have been there, but we took advantage of the guys that could show up and went a couple days a week during the fall. And then as soon as they were, done with football, these guys have really hit the floor running. So it's been good. We've got some good time, or I've got some good time with them, but I was definitely looking forward to getting them full time. And we got a scrimmage night at Shenango, and I'm excited to see how we stack up.
And so you talked about your emphasis on the defensive side of the floor, but what can we expect to see from the Yellowjackets this season offensively?
Sure. I think that you're going to see a nice, space and pace type of game. We want to run, but we want to run when it makes sense. We're going to play a dribble drive sense, not the true definition of a dribble drive offense, but, just guys playing with great awareness, great pace, putting our guys in situations where they can make a play or maybe make a play for somebody else. You'll see a little bit of stuff that, just like defensively, you'll see some offensive stuff that I brought over from previous places. But I feel fortunate to have kind of all the coaches I talked about earlier, kind of took bits and pieces from each one of their styles, offensively, defensively, and kind of formulated my own plan.
So I mentioned earlier some of the returning starters that you guys got coming on the court this year. What can we expect from them? And who were some guys that kind of jumped out at you as kind of summer leagues, spring, and the fall has gone on, and you've had open gyms. So who do we expect to see out there on the court producing for this team, and who's kind of been a pleasant surprise for you?
Hopefully you see a lot from all of them. I think the seniors are all going to have a big part in our play. I expect big things from all of them. They all accepted the captain role, and with that becomes it's a lot of responsibility. So I think that all those guys will live up to that. And then I'll tell you what, our junior class, man, I've been really impressed with them as well. When you talk about a returning starter in Benny Lane, and then a lot of guys that had JV and varsity minutes from last year, the Parker Lucases, Dean Fuhrer, Gavin Croney, Brady Stuyvesant, Peyton Westendorf, Zach Clark. There's it's a strong class. They played together a while, and I hope to see contributions from everyone. Having that depth is nice, and it's made practice very competitive. So hopefully a lot.
And you mentioned earlier about you didn't want this to be like kind of a gap year, kind of first year coming in. You didn't want it to be kind of a year to ramp up. You mentioned that you wanted to win the section. So what is it going to take for you guys to accomplish that goal?
Honestly, just getting better every day. Not having those lapses in days of practice, film sessions, whatever it may be, being focused when we're in the gym, in film. And this team has the talent. I think it's just a focus on everything new that my staff is bringing to the table, because if we want to have success this year, we don't have the luxury of past years and building off of that. Everything's fresh, everything's new, and if you don't take advantage of every day, we're just going to fall behind. So I think they've done a great job of that so far, and the upperclassmen have really held guys accountable, but the buy-in's there. It's just being focused every day on exactly what we're trying to accomplish.
And we talked about, your journey to get to this point. We talked about the players, but you just mentioned your staff. Can you tell us a little bit about them?
Sure. Assistant coach Ben Bailey. He played for Norwin's in Norwin's Hall of Fame. He coached various places, actually around the country. We spent some time in Vegas, coached out there, and then came back here. Was at Hempfield. Was with me at Fox Chapel for several years. Spent a year at NA, and then came over to Freeport with me, which we're glad to have him. He's I think the kids are glad to have him. He's very kind of to the point, which we appreciate, and something I think that the kids appreciate the honesty, and so just very glad to have him on staff. And then his son Matt Bailey, who's looking to get into coaching as well, is on with us, and it's great to have that kind of dynamic father-son assistant coaches. It cracks you up sometimes, their banter, but yeah, glad to have them both on staff here at Freeport.
And I'm looking forward to getting to see you guys here on the tip-off tournament this weekend. We got wall-to-wall coverage here on High Top Sports Network starting on Friday at 4 is when the first game is. You guys will be the nightcap of that evening. So what are you kind of looking for in that tip-off tournament? Like, what are you trying to see from those guys out there? You mentioned you had some scrimmages. You got one tonight, but a tip-off tournament, that's whenever things start to get real, right. So what are you looking to see here come this weekend?
I think just a carryover from, all the drills, that we've done. It's one thing to drill it in practice, and then you go and play, and kind of everybody loses focus of what you're doing. Carrying over one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. All the things that we've drilled so far this season, kind of putting it all together, in a scrimmage, or obviously we want to see it in our tip-off tournament. When a ball's tipped, it's a different ball game. It's not just a singular drill. But I'm hoping all these guys can kind of take what we've done, put it all together, and just see that focus that we talked about. I know it's not going to be perfect, it's early, but just looking for us to carry things over, hopefully do some things well, and what we don't do well, hopefully we'll talk about Friday and do better on Saturday.
And I'll leave you with this final question here. We've talked about a lot during this interview about you, the players, what to expect this season. But if you had to give somebody your best elevator pitch about why they should be excited about Freeport basketball this year, what would it be?
Our players, honestly, they are such a joy to coach. They really, 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 are energetic. They want to learn. They are like sponges in practice. The camaraderie's there. The chemistry's there. They're great guys. That's huge to have great guys in your program. And they're talented as well. So I just think that the community, they had a good year in football. All these guys are football players. Hopefully we can build off the success they had there and, bring it to the court. So really it's them. And we're just going to see how far we can go, how much better we can get from now until February and see where the, chips fall.
Yeah. Hey, a lot of those guys, coming off a playoff win in football, won a playoff game last year, it's all about keeping up that momentum. So looking forward to seeing you guys this season.
Thanks. Looking forward to seeing you guys at TipOff Tournament here shortly.
Absolutely. And as I said, you can catch all the action live here on High Top Sports Network starting Friday at 4 p.m. Hey, it's been a pleasure, Coach. I'm Jake DeLuca. This has been Freeport Yellowjackets boys varsity head coach Sean Devinney, and looking forward to seeing the journey this year. Looking forward to talking to you more, Coach.
For sure. Nice talking to you as well.
All right.